Dominique for being my also camera person for today. Okay, so thank you all for coming here. Here I am gonna talk your ear off for a little bit, okay? Okay, so today we're gonna talk about retirement planning. I know most of you guys are, in your early 20s, maybe a little bit more than that, so probably haven't really put much thought into it. But if you have, really awesome. You're gonna love what I have to say today. Basically, where I'm going to start off is by saying, if you start your retirement by saving for it by the time you're 25, with compounding interest, you're going to make about $100,000 more than if you would if you started when you were 30. Which that's a lot of money when you're thinking about no longer working anymore and having to live off of it. And according to articles from the American Savings Educational Council, 70% of workers who have started saving have only saved about $25,000, which is a really scary low number when you're thinking about the budget cuts to Social Security these days, the cost of living constantly going up. You're going to need a heck of a lot more than $25,000. So, thinking about it, we are all going to retire eventually by the time we're 65, if not before. And as I was talking about, the rising debts in our country, the cost of living constantly going up, you're going to have to kind of take it into your own hands as far as your own retirement goes. Stop laughing at me, okay? But you do have a lot of ways to help yourself. There's retirement advisors out there. A lot of them are free. They'll meet with you and you have no
obligation.
That's the word. You have no obligation to actually do what they're telling you to do. You can just go and talk to them, and if you don't like what they have to say, you can go, hey, yeah, I don't care what you're saying. So, because saving money by yourself is really hard. I mean, you have to think, if you do want to invest, you have to make sure you're investing safely. If you don't want to invest, let's face it, the savings interest rates on most savings accounts, money markets, and CD rates are crappy. So, unless you've already got a lot of money, you pretty much have no choice but to invest. An investment tends to be the most sought out way of raising retirement funds right now, just because interest rates are so horribly just bad. But according to an article from the U.S. Department of Labor, you need about 70%, if not more, of your pre-retirement income in order to maintain your lifestyle after you retire. So, try to think about how much money you're spending now. You need to save enough of that for several years, because most of us are going to live into our 90s, if not more than that, considering, with healthcare being what it is, people are living a lot longer. So you got to make sure you've got enough to cover you for that long. Your bills are not going to stop coming just because you retire. So a lot of things that you need to think about now is making sure that, by the time you retire, you're not making payments on your car anymore, you're not making payments on your house anymore, because then that's just more income that you're going to have to save when you retire. And again, going back to the wealth retirement people that you can talk to at banks, they will help you, kind of lead you in the right direction to make sure you're making those choices so that you can cover if you do have to have a house payment or if you do have to have a car payment. They're going to help try to find investment choices that are going to make that easier for you and have a little bit less risk than doing it on your own. So here, talking about the starting early, going over maximizing your returns with investment. Here we're going into the financial advisor, which I keep kind of going into again and again. Basically, they just make it easier for you. If they're a free tool sitting there to help you, especially with something so difficult as retirement, why not utilize it? A lot of times they're going to do personalized plans for you so that, there's not one fit all for retirement. People have different jobs, different incomes, different payments, different obligations. So by getting a more personalized plan, you're making sure you're getting where you need to be while still taking care of what you've got. If that makes sense to you guys. Now this is one big thing that I'm going to kind of soapbox about you guys. Your 401k. Most of you guys have a job. Most of your jobs offer 401k or some kind of pension plan. Use it. Surprisingly, in an article according to the Department of Labor, there's 30% of people in America right now who have the ability to have 401k and are not using it. 401k is something where you're kind of contributing a little bit of it yourself, and then your company you work for matches it. So you're getting free money from the place you work for, and then usually the longer you work there, the more money you get. And as far as planning for retirement, that is a huge asset for you. So just have a 401k. Use it and start now. Don't wait. Now we're going to kind of go over kind of what happens when you do plan and when you don't plan. First we're going to talk about the positive. Your happy retirement, these nice little vacationing old folks here. Basically, these people, I'm kind of using the example of my grandparents. They saved money. They made sure that they didn't have payments when they retired. They did financial advising. They made sure that they had the money in the right places. They used their 401k. And they made investments and made sure they got a good return and didn't get a lot of losses. And they made sure that they saved themselves. They didn't count just on their Social Security. Because yes, even though my grandparents' generation now, their Social Security is a lot better than what ours will be. But even with what they did, they're living very comfortably right now. They are making renovations in their house, which is maximizing their asset. They even are able to go on small vacations if they want to, which is awesome. I mean, when you're old, you got nothing else to do, right? Now we're going to go over to Bob. As you can see, Bob is very unhappy. Bob decided to wait. He waited until he was in his 40s before he even started using 401k. And then Bob decided that I'm just going to use my 401k and Social Security and see how far that gets me. Then Bob discovered, oh shoot, now I'm 73 years old. I don't have enough money to last me for the next 10 or so years that I'm going to be alive. So now sad Bob is working at Walmart as a cashier to make ends meet. Don't be Bob, guys. Do not be Bob. Just a few little changes that you make early on could make or break your retirement. Okay, this is my citation list, but I'm reaching the end of my speech here. I'm just telling you, do not be a Bob. Make sure you use your 401k. Make sure you're saving independently. Do not count on Social Security. Social Security may or may not be there by the time we get old enough to retire. I mean, just think about the debt of our country right now. It's a very scary number, if any of you guys have seen it recently. I mean, none of us want to work when we're over 65. I mean, recreational work, like working on cars, perhaps, but you don't want to be in a job that you hate when you're old and grumpy. So just make sure you plan ahead. Seek the advisors. They're there for you. They want to help you. It's their job. I mean, bottom line, that's really where I'm going with this. So just don't be Bob. Do you have any questions for me about anything? We good?
Mm-hmm.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good.
Then you can